Hey guys, well in this tutorial we're doing something very different. Instead of my face on the screen, we have this beautiful compound interest curve. Now you're probably thinking, Phil, you're weird. Why is this beautiful and why should I care? Well, let me tell you, you should care very, very, very much because this is the opportunity that will allow you to create serious wealth over time. This is the opportunity that I missed. This is the opportunity that your parents missed, but you don't have to because you are still young. Compound interest is absolutely powerful, and it means for young people, you have the opportunity, as I said before, to create serious wealth without needing to earn huge amounts of money, without needing to work your butt off to get there. This is the way to create serious wealth. Now, I will say, I'm not a fan of making money for money's sake, but I do believe that money is a great enabler and it allows you to do things you enjoy doing. It allows you to give to causes that you truly, truly care about. It allows you to have choices in life which you don't have when you're struggling financially. I talked to you about the power of paying yourself first, of putting a portion of every pay aside so that you can invest that money and then you spend what's left. When we do that and when we invest our money wisely, this is the sort of thing that is possible. Let me just quickly go over the scale for you because you can see over on the left hand side we've got very small numbers which will be even smaller by the time I get them into a tutorial on the screen for you. But we start with this bottom line here at $1 million, and then at the top here we have $8 million. If we look across the bottom, we've got age 18, and then we've got age 75 on the right hand side here. Each of these blue bars are your savings. So think of this as money in the bank or money in investments. Right over here we can see we start with next to nothing, which is typically what happens when you're young. By the time we get to the end here, this bar has grown to $6.8 million. I'll say it again, there is no rocket science required to get you from here to here. But what you do need to do is start. Because for every year that you procrastinate and you don't start down here, you're not losing one of these little blue bars of savings down here. What you're losing is these big blue bars of savings over here. And that would be a tragedy. So let me show you how I came up with these numbers and how easy it is for you to get there if you make this your focus starting today. Okay, now, I know that there's a lot of numbers on this screen and it can look very, very scary, but I'm going to walk you through it one row at a time. What we've got here is age 18. So you at age 18, let's just say you've got a part-time job and you're earning $6,000. Let's say you're at university. Now, I understand you may not be at university. You might be doing an apprenticeship or you might have gone straight into full-time work. That's okay. The reason we're starting here is because I put this chart together to show my kids, my daughter Hannah particularly, who has just turned 18. So we've got income of $6,000, which she gets from working at the local fruit and veg market. She does that on a Saturday and earns about $100 to $150 a week when you take into account extra work over the summer. Her net income, which means her income after she's had to pay tax, is still $6,000 because you don't have to pay tax until you get to about $18,000 to $20,000. No tax, so she gets to save 10% of it. So let's say Hannah set herself up so automatically she puts aside 10% of every dollar she earns, that whole pay yourself first principle. So we can see she saves $600, and because she's investing it, she gets an 8% return per annum. We get an 8% return, which means that our investment grows to $648 because we've received $48 interest on that money. Year 2, we're still at university, still earning $6,000, still saving $600, but now our savings have grown to $1,347 and we earned $99 interest this year. Now, what I want to point out here, and remember I've talked about this is where money works for you. Hannah is not working to earn this money. She's got it invested, so the investments are paying her this money. It's growing without her need to work for it. Year 3 and year 4 are the same. $6,000, we save $600, so that's 10% of what we've earned. Our savings have now grown to $2,100 and then $2,900, and you can see in this last year of university, Hannah has got $216 in interest, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, it's money she hasn't earned. Okay, so Hannah then gets to 22, she's finished university, and in her first year of work, she gets $45,000 a year. Now, this seems like a huge sum of money, especially if all you've been earning up to now is $6,000. And it is a lot of money. And this is a point where you need to make a decision and go, hey, I'm earning so much money here. Before I get used to spending it all, which does happen, before I get used to spending it all, I am going to start putting aside a chunk of it into my savings before I get a chance to spend it. Now, in this case, all I've said is that Hannah's going to keep putting aside 10% of what she earns. So what we can see here is she's earned 45, but because she's now earning more than $18,000 to $20,000, she has to pay tax. So she pays $6,000 tax on $45,000, which means that she gets $38,800 into her bank account. Now, tax is super important for us to pay because tax is what pays for the quality of healthcare, for our roads, for our education. There's so many things that our tax money pays for, so we should never really begrudge it. We pay the tax. Hannah puts aside 10% of what she earns, and you can see that her savings has now grown to $7,346, and her interest for the year was $544. From here, I've just assumed that her income will grow by 3%, so that's what I've got up here, will grow by 3% each year. Now that's a very conservative figure because what you find in your first 5 to 10 years of work, your income tends to jump up quite quickly as you become more skilled and experienced in what you do. But I'm being conservative here. So at 23, she earns $46,000, she pays $6,600 in tax, and she puts $3,900 into her savings, and you can see there that her savings are growing nicely, and she's earning $905 in interest. Again, this is money she has not had to work to get. If we fast forward now to age 30, Hannah's now earning $57,000. She's paying $10,000 in tax. She's still putting aside her 10%, which is $4,693. She's now got $62,000 in savings, and her interest for that year was $4,650. So this is how much her investments have grown by in this year. Again, she has not had to work for that. Let's fast forward now to 40. So at 40, she's now earning $76,000. She's still paying tax. She's put $6,000 of that into savings. But look at her investments. Her investments have now grown to $218,000. And in that year, she's earned an extra $16,000 in interest or growth on her investments. Fast forward to 50. She's earning $102,000. Her investments have grown to over $500,000. So $578,000, and her, look at this, her interest, or what that fund's growing by, is $42,000. So she's earned in her investments half of what she's earned in her work at this point in time, which is incredibly exciting, If we then fast forward another 10 years at age 60, you can see that now Hannah is earning $138,000. She's receiving $99 in her bank account, $38,000 in tax. She's still putting her 10% aside, so $9,900. But look at her investments, $1.38 million. And in this year, her investments have made $102,000 for her. $102,000. That is more than she actually received from her work after tax. Can you see the power of this, guys? And all Hannah has done this whole way is just invest 10% of every dollar she's earned after tax. She's just put 10% aside. So if we skip ahead, of course, you can see at age 70, the investments have grown significantly. We're now at $3.1 million, and you can see that the investments themselves created an income or growth of $234,000, which is significantly, it's almost double what she would have received from her after-tax income. There is no rocket science to this, guys. Anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. This is not hard. It is just making the decision to say, no matter what, I'm going to put aside 10% of my income and I'm going to leave it alone. And I'm going to put it somewhere where I can get on average an 8% return, which is very, very doable. So there we go, guys. I'm hoping that's inspired you to what is possible. This is what can happen when we manage our money well, when we pay ourselves first, and we commit to just putting that 10% aside. Now, of course, if you could put more aside, especially in these early years, then the compound effect of that is huge. The compound effect is absolutely huge. The more you can put aside in your first 10 years, so if Hannah at this point in time said, right, well, I'm actually going to put aside, let's say 20%. So Hannah's putting aside 20% of her income. You can see by the time she's 30, she's now got $125,000 in there. By the time she's 40, she's got 437. By the time she's 50, she's got 1.1. By the time she's 60, she's got 2.7 million and earning over $205,000 a year. By 70, it's $6.3 million and earning you close to $500,000 every single year. The more that you can put aside, the better. Now is the time to be doing this. Have a chat to your mum and dad. If this is something you're interested in, have a chat. There are more resources in this course about, one, how you budget to make this happen, and two, how you can get invested to make this happen. This is so doable, guys. I hope you will take on the challenge to make this happen.